We're recording. Hi, I'm Rick DiClemente with starself.com, and welcome to Astrology Unplugged. And I've been thinking about that lately, and I'm thinking about what's the unplugged part? Why did I go for that word? And I finally realized it's me that's unplugged. And that means that I'm not plugged in anywhere. I mean, that means I can plug in anywhere I want to. That's what it means, which means I paid my dues. Been around long enough, 40 years doing this, and welcome to Astrology Talk. Tonight we're going to go over a recent article I just wrote, and the second part tonight we're going to do some astro drama, which is really important and really exciting. I just wrote an article called this, and if you're not on my mailing list, I suggest you do so, that you can keep up with all these things. And you can go to my website, starself.com, and sign up on many of the different pages there to the website and the newsletters. And I used to write a lot of articles, and I've not been writing in the last several years because things have been just so the same theory over and over and over, and darkness and darkness. Well, I broke that down into 10 significant items, and they're in this following article that I just wrote. The top part here is the link to the article if you've not read it. It's on my website, starself.com, the 10 reasons why things could be rough going right now. So I encourage you to read that. I encourage you to join the website, join the mailing list. Okay, so when I went through the 10 things, I did them what I consider, my opinion, the 10 in order, with the 10th one being the most intense. Because things are really crazy right now. Liza and I have 81 years of experience of looking at ephemerides and watching the planets. And in the last 5, 6, 7 years, planets are not behaving like they did for those first 70 years, okay? There are just a lot of energies combining, conflicting, unusual, and what it really means is, I really think what we're seeing here is a cleansing. I think we're seeing a cleansing of the collective. In other words, I think you've got to either keep up with what's going on or else you're going to be pushed aside. And I do not mean that in a mean way. I mean that evolution is going to just go right past you. And a lot of people you can see now are angry. They're not sure why they're angry. They want somebody to blame. And a lot of them want to get in the back of their pickup truck and shoot somebody. Well, that's certainly not the answer. We all know what the answer is. It's the answer that's always been. And it's a 4-letter word that starts with L. And I'm not going to talk about it because we all know what it is. Okay. So I listed the 10 items astrologically that have been going on in different periods and sub-periods. And anybody here that's not read it? Okay, you definitely need to read the article. It's very complex. You'll need to read it several times slowly. Now, I'm going to start with number 10, go down to number 1, and then we'll stop recording later and we'll do the astrodrama. Number 1, this is why in 2017, I looked ahead at the year 2018, and I saw a really major eclipse coming this summer, but I saw one date in particular this year that was significant, and it's April 24th. So what do we got, 10 days? 13 days? You see what's coming. Okay, 12 days. You see what's coming. I told you it would be atomic. It would be about nuclear war, about nuclear medicine, about nuclear everything. This is why it's happening. Now, let me explain to you. There's not a planet out, John. There's not a planet coming by saying, boy, you need to have nuclear war there. That's not what's happening. What's happening on the 24th of April, Pluto is sitting here, and Mars goes around every 2 years. Every 2 years. Every 2 years. Pluto goes around every 256 years. So the era that we have been in, is the story. And since 2008 until 2024, 2008 until 2024, we're 2/3 of the way through, Pluto's been going through Capricorn. And you notice that's when we've seen all this uptick, upsurge, and digging up of corruption and faulty systems. Well, the reason why is when Pluto goes through Capricorn, it's very simple. What Pluto does is symbolic of somebody going down in your basement and shaking your rafters. Why? He's like an inspector. He's inspecting that you're strong enough to continue. Some planets are mild, some planets are intense. Pluto's big time. Pluto means we're in it for the long haul. You got to be dedicated with courage or get out of here. Other planets are milder. Pluto's job is to shake the rafters. Well, when he started shaking the rafters in 2008, what happened is this whole period's been going on since 2008. Well, the whole period doesn't go away. What happens is it peaks and it subsides, and it peaks and it subsides. I've even given you guys dates exactly when it would peak. And what I mean by peak, there are many ways a planet can peak. But while Pluto's been going through Capricorn, Mars has come along and hit it. It hit it from here. It hit it from here. It hit it from here. And there are other triggers in the zodiac, but Mars is the big one because Pluto going through Capricorn is, I found these problems in the foundation. We got to get rid of the termites. We got to build new pillars. We got to get rid of the UN. We got to get rid of the White House. We got to start to replace all corrupt institutions. If it's not corrupt, we don't have to replace it. But guess what? Most things are pretty corrupt, and most of us today aren't even shocked. So Mars hits at different levels, and the sun also is a trigger, but the main one is Mars. When Mars conjuncts the Pluto in Capricorn, when it squares it from over here, when it opposes it, and when it squares it from over here. Well, we have Pluto approaching, Mars is approaching Pluto now. And I saw this 6 months ago. Mars is approaching Pluto, and on the 24th of April, Mars will be 1 degree away from Pluto. So Pluto, you might say, says, all right, I put orders in here. He talks like a sergeant. He's very intense. You don't argue with Pluto. I put orders in here for dramatic change, dramatic sweeping change. I want to see where the action is. What have you been doing? That's what Mars does. Mars is the little old lady, the little short lady. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? Where's the beef? That's what Mars is. What are you doing about it? And it's our nature, once the peak goes by, it's our nature to go hide again, push it under the rug when there's more work and cleansing to be done. So that's why we're 12 days away. We got the president threatening Russia. We got him threatening North Korea. And even if you waved a fairy wand and the president were gone and Mr. Perfect were there, you still got nuclear threats across the planet. This Mars hitting Pluto is not indicative of just the United States chart. It's everybody on the planet. So when Mars gets closer, he will do something on the 24th. He'll do something on the 25th. But Mars is like a clock. On the day that it's 1 degree away, the 24th, he'll be 1 degree away, will be the peak period. Now, you can expect anything from somebody dropping a bomb to going to the table and deciding not to drop a bomb, but you're going to see an epic climax because Pluto has been working on somewhere in your chart, and your chart, and your chart, and my chart. Wherever you have Capricorn in your chart is where Pluto has been working. And if you look at it since 2008, what's happening is renovation. Look at me. I'm in a house 100 years old, and now it's starting to spring forth and be renewed again. So What is it all about? It's about, are you going to evolve and learn to get along with each other on this planet or not? If not, you're going to destroy yourself. It's that simple. Is that news? No, it's not news. So Mars is coming. It's going to be just another event. Plus, I have noticed, because I've watched this carefully, this is not circular. This is not circular. It is a screw. It is a spiral. Each time it hits, it gets more intense. I've been watching this for years. Karen can vouch for me. She's been with me since '06. And I've been watching, I'm talking about Karen Shanahan too, both Karens, because she's been in my class. So each time Mars hits, it gets more intense. The odds get stronger. The what's at stake becomes more important. So there's very likely going to be something very negative that's going to happen. Also, it's very probable that after a couple of days, in a lot of ways, that'll turn very positive. But what happens is the inspector comes back to your house. He says, I told you 10 years ago to get this done. You haven't done it. You've done this, and that's good, and you haven't done that. So if you've been doing your evolutionary work, it's going to be really good. If you've not been doing it, it's going to be the opposite. That's what Mars Pluto means. I cannot overemphasize how dangerous this period is during the 24th. I picked one day of the whole year, and that's coming in 12 days. Secondly, on my list, the 17th. What is the date today?
It's 12.
5 more days, Chiron is going to leave Pisces. Chiron is going to go into a new zodiac. Chiron takes about 51 years to go around a circle. It's not a circle at all. It's very much elliptical. Chiron is leaving Pisces during the next few days, and it's going to go into Aries. I did a chart of when it goes into Aries on the 17th. I did it for Greenwich, England, because that's the central location on the planet, astrologically. And the chart was very strong with powerful new inventions. It shows the next 51 years. And you have to remember, when you're looking at a Chiron return or a Chiron event, you're talking about the wound and the healing and people's scientific discoveries and their hero's journey. Well, I saw also Pluto in the 12th house. So the chart was very promising for the next 51 years. It was also very scary, with the possibility of our own demise. So the point is, while Pluto is coming through the last final degrees of Pisces, it's going to end on the 17th. Okay? The next few days. I'm sorry, Chiron is going to finish its days in Pisces. Chiron has been in Pisces for the last 6 years, and we've seen an unbelievable uptick in the number of healers. Chiron is the wounded healer. He has a lot to do with the wound and the healing, and also a lot to do with healing. Chiron is very prevalent in the charts of people who are healers. So you're going to start seeing massive breakthroughs with that category too during the next 5-6 days. Number 3, on the list, Chiron has been in Pisces for the past 6 years. And during those 6 years, it has, you must see this in yourself. You must see this around you. It has made all of us more intuitive. It has made more of us lose faith in the physical Western type of medicine. It's made us more seeking of internal, spirit-prompted internal cures that are natural. So that's been a really big one. It's been largely positive, but the story, this ties in with number 4 too, is that during those 6 years, when Pisces was going through, when Chiron was going through Pisces, Uranus was going through it too. No, wait. I don't want to get you confused. I'm confused. While Chiron was going through Pisces, Neptune was there. Neptune's at home in Pisces, a very strong spiritual statement. Neptune was in Pisces during those 6 years, and Chiron was there too. So for about 5 years, we were experiencing Chiron and Neptune together, and that's when you started to see, I remember when this happened, you started to see, that's when Teddy Kennedy died, when they got close, but you started to see this massive movement towards health care for all. Because Neptune energy, Pisces energy, doesn't have any understanding of separateness. You heal these people, but you don't heal these people. So this is why you saw that topic become very, very strong during those years. Now, what happened was, about a year ago, they started to separate because Chiron moves much faster than Neptune does. Neptune goes around every 164 years, Chiron every 51. So as they started to separate, what happened was we started to get the Neptune cloud by itself. The past year has been very cloudy because Chiron has left Neptune alone. And Chiron, being very Virgo-like, has a down-to-earthness effect to it, wanting us to take spiritual principles but apply them in a down-to-earth way. Once that left Neptune alone, Neptune said, hey, down-to-earth, schmown-to-earth. What are you talking about? Neptune has no idea what down-to-earth means. It's not interested. It's limiting. Neptune is floating in the skies. Neptune is Hendrix music, and Neptune is Pink Floyd music. Okay? Neptune is floating free in the oneness. So that's why in the past year, as very sneaky, just like Neptune, as Chiron snuck away, it started, as you see now, it's finishing Pisces, about to go into Aries in the next week. Neptune's been left alone. It's got many more years left. And Neptune is really powerful in Pisces. And this is why a lot of people have finally thrown in the towel, and they said, I don't care what my career is, I don't care what my 401k says, I'm going with my spiritual purpose. I'm going with my spiritual direction. The spiritual upsurge, the spiritual need to get in touch with that part of ourselves has become so strong that it's been really blessed and very strong and very good. But on the other hand, what you're seeing is people are freaking out because they got because so many people have been lied to and misled for so long as to what spirit really means. So mankind is coming into a clash of what we've been thinking of religion as spirituality clashing with what's really real. And what's really real is finding God inside yourself. And I believe it's exactly what Jesus tried to say. It's what Buddha tried to say. It's what all of them tried to say. But we ended up making the church about Jesus and the church about Buddha instead about the truth that they were pointing us to. So in that sense, what we're seeing is we're seeing the wheat separate from the chaff. You're starting to see pure spiritual advancement now. It's been going on, and you'd better thank the hippies of the 1960s because they're the ones that started it. And I get so tired of hearing people goof on the hippies of the 60s. And really, we need to all sit back and thank the beatniks of the 50s. Because they're the ones that started it. The early Ginsberg poets, the ones that started to say there's something wrong with society. We're being lied to. This isn't real. They didn't understand it. But they knew Nowsville. They knew what Nowsville meant. You know, I'm picking up the spirit of here and now. They couldn't put it into words, but they knew it wasn't with Father Knows Best television, Ozzie and Harriet. So now we're starting to benefit 50 years later from all that hard work that was done by these early pioneers like Gurdjieff and Uspensky and Blavatsky. So many of them that did early work, and the early works by Yogananda and the works by Maharishi, etc. So we're making major, major, major leap forward. And my real summation of this article is the fact that we're going through 10 of these things at once is symbolic. There's only one reason that we're doing this. There's only one reason that this is happening right now, that we're getting hit with double punch, double punch, double punch, because we're ready. And that's a shock. Because we're ready, and that's a shock. Because people don't want to be ready. A lot of people do. Most people here do. And we're ready. And that means when you're ready, that means you got to let go of a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff doesn't want to be let go of. So you see all that happening. Don't get lost. And remember, when you see your partners out there crying and whining and bitching and complaining, they're only doing one thing. They're asking for help. Like the Course in Miracles says, you're either giving love or you're asking for it. And we're seeing so many people pleading. Their systems have fallen apart. They don't know where to go get it. They don't know where to go socially. They're not going to get it at a bar. They're not going to get it at work. They're not going to get it at the country club. They're not going to get it at most of the churches because these people have not been focused. People are going through a massive spiritual crisis. Not us. Most of us have been on the path for a long time. We're shifting and learning, but we're all one family. We're all one family. So try not to get too upset if you hear people freaking out. And what they're doing now that's so comfortable, they're trying to put all the blame on Trump. Well, if Trump turned into the beautiful guru from the East, it wouldn't matter. We're still going through a spiritual crisis because we've had religion dumped on us all these years and lifetimes in terms of behavior. That's what's changing now. Up until now, religion was, this is how you behave. How about when you drive by these friends' house, they got the 10 Commandments out on the lawn. Thou shalt, thou shalt, thou shalt. I don't need your rules. Don't tell me how accurate your book is. You think it's accurate? Okay. I don't need to behave in a certain way to be acceptable. I smile. I share my spark of light. Well, the spark of light that's in your eyes, I know that's where it's at. That's what namaste means. So, the people are shaking with their plates out in church, trying to get the collection coming, trying to get the collection. But a lot of people are leaving, and I'll leave this subject alone after I remind you what I told you a couple of weeks ago. I get these Southern ladies I'm reading for, say a woman in Georgia, and she'll say, you know what? Everybody around here is so uptight, and I'm so scared to talk about me doing yoga, me doing meditation, and I'm a Southern Baptist, and boy, if I heard me, they'd throw me out of town. And then I hear some lady in Arkansas, some lady in Alabama tell me the same thing. I say, ladies, you're all saying the same thing. I'm sorry your church is bye-bye. Your church is done for. It's done. Keep your camaraderie. Keep your fellowship. Beautiful. Those times and those misunderstandings are gone. This is what Jesus wanted. So we're going through a great big spiritual crisis at the same time that our institutions have crumbled. Okay, now, so that really puts together number 3, number 4, number 5. I've been talking for a long time now The Uranus goes around every 84 years. It's very clockwork. 7 years a sign, 7 years a sign. Uranus is why you have the 21-year revolution and the 42-year midlife crisis. Uranus, 7 years, 84 years around a circle. Well, Uranus goes into Aries. Let me see here. Uranus has been in Aries. It's been in Aries since 2011. It started a new zodiac. That was almost exactly when you saw the Arab Spring and the revolution. Is such an Aries thing. Well, we're too thick and afraid in America, so it took us 7 years to have our own, but now we're having our own spring with the kids out of Florida and with the females wearing their hats and with all the demonstrations that are going on. We're at the 7th year in the final stages of Uranus going through Aries, and that will end on May 15th. May 15th, a month from now, Uranus will change signs. And when Uranus or any planet goes through a sign, it gets riled up and it gives you a special performance called the finale before it changes into the next sign. It doesn't go quietly into the night, quietly into the next sign. It gives you a finale. And we're seeing that now. And that's one reason you're seeing such Uranus energy of freedom, and I want to be myself, and the Me Too movement, and I want to speak up for Stoneman Douglas, and et cetera, and et cetera. All it means astrologically is I want to be myself. I don't want your church breathing down my neck. I don't want your laws breathing down my neck. If you're not going to allow me and promote me to be myself, then there's something wrong with you. But the problem we're having is so Uranian. And I've talked about this for so many years. Uranus is all about repression and getting past it and getting beyond it. But the temptation when Uranus is around, especially when you're age 42 and you're having a midlife crisis, the temptation is to blame somebody for why you're not free. There are so many people at age 21, Uranus square Uranus. They blame the parents. I'm going to go do my thing. Uranus opposite Uranus, the midlife crisis. Well, sometimes the parents are to blame. Sometimes the boss is irrational. Sometimes you've got too much weight on your shoulders. But in most cases, you've been bugging your own self. In most cases, you have not allowed yourself to be yourself. You have not allowed yourself to be yourself. And that's what fuels the midlife crisis. I've not been being myself. Well, I need a Corvette convertible, some young chick, and I'm going to Vegas. That's not what you need. Maybe somebody does. You need to be free to express yourself. In this land where we think we're so free, we're not free. We're not even close to it. We're so uptight. What's somebody going to say? How's it going to look? What are they going to say? I can't be myself. Can't say that. Baptist's going to throw me out. That's changing now. That's changing. And you're going to see more of this. A lot of the Me Too movement is not just the sex abuse. It's got to do with, I've been keeping myself in. I want to come out. You're going to see an upswell of that. That's going on now too. Next one. This is all covered in the article. Now, the next one. Number 6. Saturn has been in Capricorn. Saturn, the lovely Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, has been home in Capricorn for a little over a year now. And us Capricorns don't even notice it. You know, it's like putting another ounce of weight in our backpack while we've been carrying such a load. And us Capricorns are such load carriers. We'll carry the load for everybody. I'm Marcia Butt. We're just the load carriers. We're duty-bound and responsible. Well, what's happening to the rest of y'all is you're getting the Saturn responsibility tossed into your backpack, and you don't like it, and you're freaking out, and they're calling me and saying, when is it going to stop? I'm laughing when the Sagittarian friends call me. When's it going to stop? Oh, it's not going to stop. Yeah, a couple more years. Welcome to responsibility. So, Saturn in Capricorn is a tough period. There are truths about Capricorn. It will make you age faster. The wrinkles will show up quicker. The illnesses you have will be real. Because what Saturn does is it crystallizes what you hold in thought. So, given that, that's another added pressure. So, while we're trying to fix all these corrupt politicians, while we're trying to, could we spend a penny and a half on that bridge that's about to fall down? While we're trying to repair something while spending all the money giving it to the rich, what's happening is real weight is being added to those bridges. Real weight, real responsibility is mounting up. So, what that means is very simple. Are you going to be responsible for what you're building or not? There's no way around it. The ones you know, look around you. Who is suffering? The ones that are suffering are the ones that don't want any responsibility for themselves. Some people, because of karmic, collective duties, I don't understand it, it's beyond me. Some people owe more to the collective than others do. I don't know why. Astrology doesn't answer everything. But for now, you'd better buckle down. If something isn't right, you better own it, get working with it. And as I keep telling you, and I may do a whole book on this. The planets work with you when you do what they say because they are your inner urgings. It's that simple. There's a part of you that wants to take things seriously, wants to take responsibility and get on with things. That's what Saturn's doing. By the way, everybody, just by the way stuff. Saturn is about the teeth. If you've got dental work it needs done, get it done now. Get it done. If you've got problems with the skin, Saturn rules the skin because it covers the body, the skin, the teeth, anything hard in the body, the teeth, the bones, the knees. So those are likely to be the areas that are afflicted. Number 7. This is picnic time. Saturn's approaching Pluto. Okay, the year 2020. I don't care when it's coming. It's 2 years away. It's coming. Pluto's sitting here. Saturn's coming. Saturn's going to spend 2.5 years. Pluto's spending 15 years. So Pluto's moving slowly. Right now, Saturn's approaching Pluto. And as the two approach, there's no way around it. It's just heavy-duty stuff. It's the stuff that brings about massive crises. There will be massive crises, yes. But it's also a time when we kind of let things collapse that need to collapse and courageously face what we need to do to start rebuilding. And once again, I refer you to the wonderful book by Richard Tarnas called Cosmos and Psyche, where he wrote some wonderful chapters about, through history, what happened when Saturn and Pluto were together. They were opposite each other during 9/11. They were together when there was the Holocaust. So it happens on a big scale. And in other words, what I got to say finally about this, if we think, or the British think, or the Dutch think, if anybody thinks, the Chinese, that we're going to be okay if we screw some other country, it ain't going to happen. We all know this. What's the reverse? The Aquarian ideal. We all in it together. Let's help each other up together. And that's exactly what needs to be done. Next is Now we're into the really heavy-duty ones. The other ones were lighter. 8. The Pluto return. February 20th. John. This makes John smile. February 20th of 2022. 2022. What are you saying? 23?
No, you're right, Rick. I was just saying there's 3 passes, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, well.
One in July.
Well, there's 3 passes. You might as well give us 100. Okay. When Pluto returns, we're in it now. Beside all this other stuff, when a planet returns 256 years later, it's going to return to 26 Capricorn, which is where it was on July the 4th of 1776. It's going to return to that spot. So this is purely American. When a planet returns, and it's already in effect now, because you give it 15 degrees, so it's been in effect for years, you can feel it. You are tested in terms of the promise that was born. There was a promise born. There was a seed planted in 1776. And the Plutonian seed that was planted was that what that lady in the New York Harbor was saying, we meant it. All of a sudden, we don't mean it so much because they may bring terrorists. All of a sudden, the little babies are washing up ashore because we can't afford to have them in our boat. So you got the balls or don't you have the balls? That's it. And a lot of us are freaking out because we had it so nice and easy. We got our spinners, woo! We got our little spinners, woo! In America, right? We're watching Dancing with the Stars, woo! Doesn't work that way. So we are in danger of losing our position of the lead planet in the world, if that ever was the case. Once again, we're starting to see this. And since we are the leader of the world, what happens in our chart affects the world. So there's another symbol of decay, of evolution, and the sooner we can get Aquarians in every top position across the board, the better, because they're the ones that know. The Pisces are too spaced out, the Capricorns are too gloomy, the Aquarians are the ones we need. Not the flaky ones, but the really smart ones, like that author I gave you earlier, okay? I'm watching stuff fly around, and I can't tell if it's flying around or it's just the dots in my eyes, because I've been going through this, the floaters from this operation. It's a bug. The floaters are starting to settle down. Thank God. Okay, so the Pluto returned. This is, like I said in the article, this is coming out of the Dark Ages. I didn't know that till a couple of days ago. That's what it is. Now, when you come out of the Dark Ages, everybody defines a Dark Age differently, and they all suggest different ways to go, but it all comes down to very simple. Are we going to work together to help each other go forward? We're going to work together to help each other go forward. And the main obstacle I see beside religion, the main obstacle I see for humankind is this need to be right. My opinion. So number one problem with the world, we need to be right. We will die as long as we're right. Number 9, Pluto through Capricorn. We've talked enough about this. It went in January of 08. It's coming out in 2024. And as it goes through, it's 2/3 of the way through. It's more of the same story. And when it comes out of Capricorn, it's not going to be a picnic. It's not going to be over. Then it'll go into Aquarius and affect other types of things. But it does show us, and I've written so much about Pluto, I do think that finally we've gotten into stage 2. Stage 1 is denial. We don't need to change all this stuff. Stage 2 is, oh, it ain't too good. We got to change all this stuff. We got to clean up our act. We're definitely in stage 2. Stage 3 is up to us. Stage 3 is, they're my offerings. Stage 3 is, I'm starting to see light at the end of the tunnel because I've been cleaning up so much. Stage 4 is, I'm getting tough and strong because I rode that horse all the way through. Final one, and I don't want to go much more because I want to get into the other part that we're doing. Okay, the discovery of Eris. And you know what else I was thinking? When you discover a planet, this came to me tonight. This is mind-blowing. In the 1700s, when they discovered Uranus, and you had the Industrial Revolution. And in the 1800s, we discovered Neptune. We discovered what gases could do. And in the 1930, we discovered Pluto. When you discover these, they mean that the psyche is ready to adopt those principles. The psyche is now ready to see the Pluto inside. Well, not only in 2003 did we discover UB303, whatever it's called, and then her name was changed to Xena, and then her name finally was changed to Eris properly. Not only did we discover Eris, we discovered 80 other planets. 80. This is why Pluto was demoted. But the fact that we discovered 80 of them means that we're ready. So what I said in 2011 is exactly right. In 2011, in January, I wrote a long article about it, and I made a video about it. 2011, you may recall, everybody freaked out. Oh, there's a 13th sign. Oh, I'm not a Sag anymore. What am I going to do with my tattoo? Oh, no, what is it? There's 13 signs. There's not 12 and all this stuff. And it was a misunderstanding, and there was such a shake-up in the collective. And what it was, I'm the only one who wrote about it. Even Tarnas disagreed with me. What it was 84 years later after the Solvay conference. Almost to the day. 2 planets came back 84 years later to the same spot. The Solvay conference in Belgium in 1927 was with Madame Curie and with Schrödinger and Einstein and all the great physicists, Planck, all the great quantum physicists. What became on the table in 1927 became in 2011, this is the future. That was the birth of us owning quantum mechanics. And that means that we're ready to start thinking on a quantum field and a what's the word of the book I'm talking about here? Holographic. Yeah, I'm getting old. I'm losing words. Senior moments. We're now ready to start thinking in a quantum way, nonlinear, in a holographic way, which is why I showed you that book, which is so astounding. I really suggest that you get a hold of this book here on the bottom, Awakening the Holographic Human. Unbelievable, by Elizabeth Botches, and her nickname is Lily. It is astoundingly written. She is so bright, and she ties together so much of the plant mythology and DMT and LSD and herbal essences and different religions and different ways the shamans do their work in Africa versus South America. She ties it all together really brilliantly, effortlessly. She's just something incredible. And she impressed my girlfriend, and that means a lot. Let me tell you. My girlfriend has a mind like a steel trap, and she's often reading that one now. And the words are big. They're not real big, but they're big. But they're really right on. It's so well written. And we all knew somehow all this was tied together. It's in this book. It's all tied together. So we discovered 81 new planets. In the case you don't know the story, when we discovered 80 new planets, we had to go from 8 to 89 planets. But instead, they decided to go from 9 down to 8, and they reclassified these guys as not planets for some technical reason. And that's how Pluto lost its status amongst astronomers, but not astrologers, because Pluto definitely is a planet. Okay, so the fact that we pick up 80 new quantum connections means that our brains are wide open now. The 60s really did do what they said they did. It busted it wide open. It just so happens that as we busted open mentally, we've gone down the drain socially and in the government. But there's great hope with, you see the people around us, even sitting at these tables tonight. All the brilliant people sitting here. Erica, mind expansion, exactly right. Okay, so that's that. And as we have discovered the main one, Eris, as I've said, most astrologers take many years before they can discern what a planet means. She is a very powerful, I think she's a daughter of Saturn. She is a powerful figure. She is way beyond Pluto. She takes over 550 years to go around the circle, whereas Pluto is about 260. She's been in Aries all of my life. She takes 120 years just to go through Aries. 120 years, how far out she is. She is a rebel. She was insulted by the other gods, and she's a hell on wheels. She's going to be counted. And do you see any of that energy now? And the reason she wants to be counted and the reason she's come on stage so quickly is it just so happens that when we discovered her, she was next to Uranus. And that means something. Uranus could have been here. It could have been here. It could have been here. When we discovered her, she was in 03, 05. She was next to Uranus. And she goes so slowly, she's been with Uranus. Both of them in its radical sign of Aries. This is why you're seeing the Me Too. This is why the men should be nervous. And they should be nervous. Eris is very powerful. There's a lot to her. I'm not going to talk much about her because I don't have much of a handle on her yet. She's going to take me years because the way you have to find out about this, I mean, since all of us alive have Eris and Aries, right? All of us. We all have Eris and Aries. What I have to go back through the charts now and search who has Eris opposite their sun, who has Eris on the midheaven, who had Eris hit when they had this car accident, etc., etc. I have to retrofit. That's how you learn about Eris. And you got to be very strong as an astrologer. You got to see what you see, and you got to not see what people want you to see. You got to be very, very resolute. I will see what I see when I see it. And if I don't see it, I'm not going to talk about it. So Eris is very powerful. I've already done shows about her. She's appearing more and more, and you'll notice that she ends up number 10 on my list because she's the planet of discord. She's a renegade. And you throw that in the mix with the other 9 things we've been talking about. Okay? So, she's going to be counted. She's going to be included. There's a lot of good sides to her, too. She's definitely feminine. She's definitely the awakening of the divine feminine. She's the awakening of the divine feminine. She's the awakening of the divine feminine. Get the men out of D.C. Get them out of D.C. Are you a man? Get on the Beltway. Get the hell out of here. Bring in the women. The women don't have miracles, but the women, we need the feminine principle, because all Trump wants to do is bomb somebody and compare member sizes. Goodbye, all you YouTubers. Thank you for joining us. If you want to join us next week, all these things are under Astrology Unplugged, under my name, on my page on YouTube. We're going to do astrodrama, and I think people will be much more comfortable being not recorded. If you'd like to join us any Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern for free, go to starself.com, starself.com/unplugged. So once again, go there if you want to join us. And thank you for joining us tonight from all us unpluggers.